Hi everyone, I am Rashala Tamandang, and thank you for taking the time to listen to my PowerPoint. My action research project is the effect of PK on increasing parent engagement and EL's literacy levels. To give some background, PK is an organization called Parent Institute of Quality Education. They are an organization founded in San Diego who have locations all over California. They have a mission to remove any barriers and provide parents the knowledge and tools to support their children while also advocating them as well. Now, moving on to area of focus. With the help of PK, this project will have an area of focus of parent engagement for their child who is identified as an English learner, or EL. The focus for this research will be using PK's own program that they developed, which is the Family Literacy Program. This provides an emphasis for teaching parents strategies to support EL's literacy development. So parents are equipped to support the EL at home, and it doesn't only have to pertain to homework. This can be seen as maybe practicing speaking, writing, or reading in both their home language and English in the comfort of their home. It also provides an opportunity for parents to create their own community and support group for parents who volunteer into this program. All right, for this slide, we are going to talk about the research question. Now, the research question for this project is, how does PK's Family Literacy Program impact parent engagement and literacy development for English learners? I'll be looking to see how effective PK's program is and then make suggestions or recommend if the program should be implemented to other schools. All right, for the fun stuff, literature review. For literacy development and ELs, they require extra support and different strategies to help English stick. They require increased opportunities to develop vocabulary skills, such as simple conversations to practice English. Constant exposure will support ELs to advance their vocabulary skill. No small act of speaking in English, writing, or reading will hinder them. It's all going to benefit them in the long run. Then, for the value of parent involvement, there is a gap in this research. However, what has been found in the current research is involving parents lead to higher student achievement. A longitudinal study followed third graders into high school and predicted involved parents meant higher student achievement. Sadly, parent motivation can be low as parents want to avoid any negative criticism, especially if they are a minority. Going into the second part of the literature review, there are ways to meet the diverse needs of ELs. For instance, there are classes and professional development provided for teachers to support them. From SEDI and PSYOP strategies, computer-based instruction, activating prior knowledge, and explicit instruction, there are multiple strategies to try with ELs that are done in the classroom, but they can also be brought home as well. Lastly, culturally responsive teaching has been growing. Just as there are PD for ELs and EL strategies, there are PD for culturally responsive teaching. This is growing in the direction of providing training to anyone in the education sector to prevent any bias or stereotypes. It is also beneficial to have admin participate in this training, because if school support increased, then both community and parent involvement will increase as well. All right, going into methodology. This will be an intervention research, which will take a sample of parents who volunteer to be part of PK's program. It's all voluntary to be part of the Family Literacy Program. In order to see the effectiveness of the program, my data collection has 3 sources, which will then be identified as my triangulation of data. The three sources are a pre and post parent survey, which I create, LPAC scores of the EL, which will be the previous school year along with the current school year. And lastly, assessments administered in the classroom by the EL's teacher. Each source is important. For the parent survey, it's important to know how parents are feeling before and after they receive the intervention. What was PK's program like for them? How did their mindset change? The research wants to see if there's a change in attitude towards education and how helpful the program was for them. Would they recommend it? Would they want to participate in it again? Next, the LPAC is a state test to assess the proficiency of English in an EL. Since the LPAC is given as an initial and summative assessment, growth in the EL's LPAC score is vital to see how much assistance will be needed for the EL to be academically successful. Lastly, for the third source, teachers assess their students to get an idea of where their student is currently. So being able to use the same assessment after a certain amount of time has passed can be a great indicator if the EL needs more support or if what is currently being used in the classroom is working for the student. If not, then there can be adjustments can be made and be more guided towards the needs of the EL. All right, now going into subjects. For students, the Family Literacy Program, PK will be supporting parenthood of the younger children. So think of students ages 6 to 8, kindergarten to about 3rd grade. They'll come from a lower socioeconomic status and be identified as an EL. The student will also need to have taken the LPAC. Next group is parents. As volunteers, parents will have a different native language along with using that language as their home language. Parents will most likely be full-time workers and their formal education may or not be present. If they do have formal education, it may most likely come from a different country. All right, now let's get into the last 2 slides. For the analysis of data, we'll be using descriptive statistics to provide a summative visual analysis for our 3 sources. Now, to analyze the data, I'll be comparing all 3 sources. I will be comparing the data before the PK intervention and the results after the PK program is complete. Thus, I will be comparing a pre and post parent survey, LPAC scores of the previous school year and current school year, and then assessments given by the classroom teacher at the beginning of the school year, and then after PK's family program is complete. Lastly, the 2 topics will be the ethical considerations and limitations of the study. Going into the ethical considerations, all data will be confidential. To ensure confidentiality, I will use the student's school ID number. As for parent surveys, they will be anonymous and then color-coded based on the child's grade level. Next, the limitations of the study will include if the student is properly assessed for a learning disability, if they are waiting to be seen by an education specialist or is being considered for a learning disability, that will be considered during the data collection process. Next, going into the next bullet, for parents and technology, even though COVID-19 and distance learning was implemented for most schools the previous school year, parents may still be uncomfortable with the technology and navigating websites and resources during the PK program. So that will be considered as well. Lastly, volunteer bias will be part of the limitations, as the parents who volunteer to be part of PK's family literacy program should not be grouped together with the general population due to the bias that volunteers may have as to why they volunteered in the first place. All right, thank you everyone. that is my presentation, and I want to take the time to say thank you for listening to my proposal, to my PowerPoint, and yes, thank you. Have a good one.